mad about this Chat GPT top 5 quarterbacks thing, like as if we made the list. The tweet literally says Chat GPT says top 5 quarterbacks, and they're like, how do you not have
Yeah, it's because people don't read.
insert X player? Oh my God. Don't look now, but the Heat are tied with the Knicks 31-31 with no Jimmy Butler.
We got a big game tonight, Sprouse.
Is that
Big
game one?
game.
Game one tonight.
Game one,
Murph?
Warriors, Lakers. Huge, monumentous game.
Yeah, that's interesting. That game. That's the whole series.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting matchup for sure. But we'll let a few people get in here, and then we'll get rolling. But I'm just telling you, the Titans taking Will Levis. Trading up to get him is an absolute travesty.
Let me ask you this before we start talking group of 5 ball. Crazier that Will Levis went there or that Anthony Richardson went 4 overall?
That's
That's
my argument.
even crazier.
That's my argument. Why
I mean,
the Colts could have gone with Levis over there, Richardson.
Well, they said, you see what they said after that? If Richardson was gone, they were going to take Levis at 4.
I'm more disappointed that my Raiders went Aiden O'Connell out of Purdue instead of Clayton Tune.
Yeah, well,
It's piss poor.
yeah, man. I hate to keep talking about Richardson, dude, but like, you remember when Tebow came out and when Lamar Jackson came out and when all these like relatively athletic guys came out and they were like, we wanted to play wide receiver, tight end. Well, Richards, at least like Lamar Jackson and Tebow were good quarterbacks in college. Like this guy, oh man, just don't get it. Like, where was all the talk about him moving positions?
I have no idea.
Yet they draft the guy 4 overall. Anyway, Jeff,
Yep.
you tell me when to go, partner.
So we go. Let's just go for it. I think we're ready. So
Let me make sure we're live on Twitter. My dog's barking in the background currently, so it's exciting.
I retweeted.
It's my fault. That was my phone. Welcome into the #1 Group of 5 football podcast in the world. Boys and girls, we are the Group of 5 guys. Our goal is to spread the hype, the recognition for these Group of 5 football programs that the mainstream sports media refuses to do, and we need your help doing that. We need you to go to YouTube, go to Apple Podcasts, go to Spotify, subscribe, like, give us a 5-star rating and a review. Follow us on all the social media platforms at Group of 5 Guys. You can go to group-of-5guys.com and get you some Group of 5 Guys swag. Got hoodies, t-shirts, all kind of good stuff on that. Or more importantly, tell your family and friends to follow us, listen to the podcast, watch the podcast, subscribe. In this episode, NFL draft happened this past weekend. We're going to recap it a little bit. Who got snubbed, who got picked a little high, what's going on with Carlton Martial. We're going to talk about that. And we got plenty more updates on transfer portal, etc. Here we go with the show. Have you had it from somebody born and raised in Lafayette, Louisiana, at a tailgate? Doubt it.
Lee Corso is a guy who had a retirement party 10 years ago, and yet he still won't leave the office.
Projected getting drafted between the first and third round. Like, that's incredible.
That's impressive.
Yeah, the wide receivers are absolutely stacked for the Group of 5.
I said Michael Pratt has got to show up and play, and boy did he. 394 yards, 4 touchdowns, 48 rushing yards on the ground, and another touchdown.
I really appreciate you do for the Group of 5 programs, and I think it's great. I think we should get more of this. But you guys are on the forefront of this, and
so I'm thankful for this. I'm glad that you're talking about the Group of 5 because I think they get overlooked.
But it's a ton of fun to watch a guy go to the NFL from a Nevada or a Colorado State or a Middle Tennessee or an App State, and fans follow that kid.
I appreciate what you guys do, truthfully, covering the Group of 5. Y'all said it earlier, but the Sun Belt to me is college football.
How in the hell does Carlton Martial not even get picked up, guys?
It's got to be some type of injury. I mean, we saw him at the Senior Bowl, and he sat out the last couple of days. That's the only thing that I can think of is why he's not signed with the team yet. I mean, you got the all-time NCAA leading tackler. I mean, has incredible instincts. We've had Coach Summerall on the show. He's talked about him. Why else would he not be signed? There's got to be something with a physical.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think he would get drafted by any means just because his size, but that's my fear that injury that we saw at the Senior Bowl is worse, or there's some kind of underlying problem. But I mean, we'll see. I think eventually he still will. Somebody will let him come to camp. I mean, why not let him come to camp and just see?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Swag. What's on your mind there?
I don't want to patronize. He's 5'9". He's 5'9". You don't even get running back certified.
Watch the film.
He's
Turn on the tape.
5'9". Yeah, he can't bat down a ball. These old linemen, he comes up to their waist. The guy, he's going to get smushed. He's going to get killed. They're doing him a favor by not killing the guy. No, I'm just kidding. He's a great football player. He's a tackle leader. He's a great Division I football player. But obviously, that you ask the question, why did he not get drafted? Why did he not get picked up? We know why he didn't get picked up. He's yay big, and that's why. Now, granted, if he gets an opportunity, will he ball out? But I don't think he's going to get a free agency in the NFL. He's going to have to go do the XFL thing. He's going to go do the Canadian Football League thing and then work his way up. That's what's going to have to happen.
I don't think so.
And they probably think he's probably like an injury risk.
You're telling me that guy's not good enough to be on a practice squad in the NFL? Like, give me a break, dude. That guy was an incredible player every year he was at Troy.
Incredible player, an incredible story, a walk-on. I get it. But let me ask you this. Walk-ons or a practice squad, who is he going to mimic when you're on the practice squad? Whether 5'9"
inside linebacker that's going to fill up the middle?
Not a five. No, he's not going to be the practice squad. He would be a five. There's no 5'9" linebackers in the NFL. There's just not.
I'm sure there's
that's
not
a good take. That's not a good take.
It's not a good take.
Google the last offenses.
Google the last 5'9"
linebacker.
Jackson. Everybody listening out there, Google right now the last 5'9" linebacker in the NFL. I'll wait. Let's just be quiet.
Give me a second. I'll Google it.
All right, yeah, give me a few minutes.
The last linebacker in NFL that was 5'9".
Tip, get on it. There. I guarantee you. I know there's 5'10".
Let's go to the next subject.
5'11".
If you're watching, I think he's fantastic. I think the guy's going to pay for another meal in his life.
I've already asked ChatGPT. I'm getting an essay right now.
He'll never pay for a meal in his life at Troy. He'll probably be a D coordinator one time in college football. He has a successful life ahead of him, no doubt about it. But unfortunately, he was not blessed with the size to be an NFL linebacker. I'm just going to be that guy.
Okay.
Well, back in 1933.
Maybe. There have been several linebackers who played in the NFL at a height of 5'9" or shorter. One notable example is Sam Mills, who played for the New Orleans Saints and Carolina Panthers from 1986 to 1997. Mills was listed 5'9", 225, blah, blah, blah. Tenacious play, leadership. 5-time Pro Bowler. Okay. This guy wasn't 5'9". This is actually false. Another example, Zach Thomas. Yeah, he's 5'11". Just got inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame.
Our boy Kasky in the YouTube chat says London Fletcher was 5'10".
Not 5'9". Thanks, guys.
Well, I mean,
I'm just being devil's advocate here. I'm not. The guy is amazing. He backed up. He went to the Senior Bowl, had a great game. I'm with you. What?
I'm laughing at the group chat.
Oh, I mean, like
Kasky says 2 inches makes a huge difference.
There's no doubt. I've already said that. Get your own material. Go talk to your own AI. He's also he'll be a D coordinator. I think he'll be a college coach one day. He might be an NFL coach one day. Maybe that's Miko Ryans for the Houston Texans. But I mean, I think NFL ball, get Josh Walker, a little different. And I don't know how a guy that comes up these guys' waists is going to be a huge playmaker or worth the money to put on.
What was your comment just there about the Senior Bowl you said?
He was hurt, wasn't he? He didn't play.
Yeah. That's what I thought. That's what I thought you said. He played at the Senior Bowl, had a great game. I get it. Blah blah blah.
He had a great bowl game. He had a great
no facts.
He had a great bowl game. I meant whatever Senior
Nah.
Bowl. He got invited to it, but it probably would have helped if he would have been in the Senior Bowl. But yeah, I'm sorry, Rouse. I hear you. Devil's
I
advocate.
think it might have helped if he would have played in the Senior
Yeah.
Bowl.
So I just
think
said.
the fact that he didn't, and he didn't get a lot of practice reps in there, and
But he
I think there's something with this injury, like
Yeah,
what Murph said
that's-
earlier, that's causing him not to be on a team right now.
Well, it was
had a
like a
great bowl
hip
game.
or a back or something, which is scary,
Yeah.
you know. But
Well, there was a lot of guys that did get drafted.
there was. So what do you guys think? So what surprised you the most? What was, most shocking to you, other than Carlton Marshall not even getting picked up yet?
Okay, well, I'll go. I thought the coolest thing I saw the whole draft from the beach side that I was at was Jake Andrews getting picked up and acting like he didn't even care.
Fantastic.
just answer the phone and just be like,
Sounds good.
yeah, I gotta get on a plane tonight. It's all right,
He did. His whole family's like, really? They're all excited. And he's like, yep.
whatever. Just
Get ready to
do
work,
one of those
man.
little sprouts like
Yeah.
check the TV.
That was great.
That
Tip,
was
you
cool.
called it about Belichick and the group of 5 guys. But
Yeah, dude, yeah, he's a group of 5 guy guru up there
Loves
in
him.
New England.
and
Love
then he
that
went
pick.
Sal from Eastern Michigan right after that. But congrats to those guys, man. I mean, a little disappointed that Jake Andrews did not have a group of 5 guys hoodie on while he was sitting in that recliner. But what'd you say before the show, Jess? That was like circa 2013. We're watching the draft at our apartment, aka the Bay. A lot of people thought that was a bar for a really long time, but turns out it was just our residence. But we were watching the draft with our buddy Josh Walker, and our apartment was like, we had like no couches, just 5 lazy boy recliners lined up in a row. And we're all watching the draft, and we're just watching all the coaches and GMs calling Josh Walker. Of course, we're all lit up. We're all drinking, like just so excited for him. But that's
I'm
what
12
Jake
beer, I'm
Andrews-
12 beers in. He keeps getting calls. And I remember one time he answered, he's like, Andy Reid.
Yeah.
He just-
He said Andy Reid.
I'm
We're all
like, holy
give me the phone.
hell.
Give me the phone.
I know. I was the agent he never had.
I know it. But that's I mean, that's so exciting for all those guys, man. I mean, obviously I wasn't anywhere near that, but something like you just got to be so proud, all the
100%.
work is coming to that moment
The
right there.
2 guys that I was really excited about where they went was Raji Rice to the Chiefs. He's about to have an incredible season from year 1. I cannot wait for him to get in that offense and see what he can do. He might win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Who knows?
I wouldn't doubt it.
I like it. And
Is
then
he gonna
also
be the number 1 there right away?
What's
No, I
his
think
name is gone, left.
Juju.
Yeah, Juju.
Yeah. So is Rice going to be the number? I mean, he's got to be, right?
I can't remember. They had another guy. I should know this because
Yeah,
I hate the
hold on,
Chiefs and they're in my division. But if he's not number 1, he's number 2.
Well,
1B.
The good thing about going to the Chiefs is you already got Kelsey that defense has got to try to deal with.
Yep.
So you're not going to be able to give any kind of help on this guy.
Well,
and you got the best quarterback in the NFL.
As much as I cannot stand him, I mean, he is what he is, and he's got the guru on, as his coach. So he's going to be put in spots, and he's going to have one-on-one matchups, and all he has to do is do what he did at SMU, is catch the ball and run. So
That's right.
I'm excited. I hate that we have to see him twice as a Raider fan, but I'm excited that he's at a great place. Another guy that got drafted right after him was our boy Tank Dell. Stays in Houston.
Yeah.
Who knows that the Texans, they're building. It's not my favorite place for him to go, but he's going to get opportunity there. So.
Yeah, Texans. That's a
rough.
tough spot. That's just a bad organization, honestly. But
yeah,
who knows?
Going back to the Chiefs real quick, they're actually pretty deep at wide receiver. They have
I like the Texans.
that. We'll get to you in a second.
I was agreeing with you. I was going with you.
They traded for Kadarius Toney last year, so he's still on their roster. I think he'll probably be their wide receiver 1. They still have MVS and Sky Moore is still there. They picked up Richie James this offseason from MTSU.
Swag guy.
And then you got Rashee Rice there. So he's going to be right in there in those, the top 4 or 5 guys right there.
Swag Bear, it's your
Swag
turn.
Bear.
I don't have nothing like to say about the draft, but I'm saying like you're saying, well, Texans. Well, Texans had almost a winning season last year with a piss poor team just because they had talent wise, and now they got D'Amico Ryans running that bad boy. You look at Texans, they're going against the Indianapolis Colts, who have Richardson at quarterback. They got Titans now who have Will Levis and your boy Tannehill at quarterback, and then the Jaguars, they got their issues. So let's just look out for the Texans having a pretty good year this year. If we're gonna make this an NFL podcast, I'm all about it. Well, Tajay Spears, Thunder Lightning with Derrick Henry and Tajay. It'll be a good third down back for him, I feel like.
As a Titans fan that had lost hope after our second round pick with Will Levis, I was so happy about us getting Tajay Spears.
I thought it was one of the better picks.
I agree.
No, it was a good pick. Yeah. He's gonna be so good. He's gonna be so good. Well, I didn't honestly. The Dolphins had like 2 picks in the whole draft, so I checked out. And I forgot. I thought we lost all the picks trading for Tyreek Hill and then for Jalen Ramsey. But the first round pick was because we tried to get Tom Brady 2 years ago. They forfeited a pick.
You still may get him.
Dolphins. Yeah, that's what I hear. I'm over it now. At some point, you got to hang it up, Tom. But anyway, Jeff, you got a couple clips and some voicemails about the draft. So let's get to those. Let's because that was a cool moment, not necessarily Group of 5 related, but when Deuce Vaughn got picked up by Dallas. I mean, could you imagine working for an NFL team and calling your son? Hey, man,
it's got to be absolutely incredible. I mean, especially as us fathers know, like all we want is the best for our kid and just having the opportunity. So Chris Vaughn is a scout for the Dallas Cowboys. Give a little background story. And, his son Deuce Vaughn was running back at Kansas State, had a great career there, and got the opportunity to call his son on draft day. And I got two clips here. I'll play the first one where he gives him the call, but the second call I think is just absolutely incredible. And like I said, as a dad, man, it just really, really, really touched me, and I think it applies to all the Group of 5 guys as well. So let's get to this first one where he's calling him on draft and letting him know that he's with the Cowboys.
Hey, buddy.
How's it going?
Hey, it's going good. This is Dad. My phone wasn't working. Look at here, man. You want to come to work with me next week?
I wouldn't mind that at all.
I got somebody want to speak to you.
I don't know when I've been speaking for everybody that's really in the heart of the Dallas Cowboys is standing here with a tear in our eye. We're so happy to have you on the Dallas Cowboys.
I can't thank you enough.
Well, what I really want to say, you earned every ounce of me being able to make this call. I'm so excited. There's just something magical about this moment that may be bigger than we even realize here talking to you on the phone. But you is now a Dallas Cowboy. Your daddy just handed the card in. Right here.
Yes, sir.
It's got him on it. Congratulations.
I mean, that's pretty cool. I don't know how many times that might be the first time it's ever happened, but just being able to share that with your son and be able to make that call. But this is actually, I think, a clip, and I don't know if he knew he was being recorded, but this is him talking to his son earlier and just kind of calming him down. Because you know how stressful draft day is. Like, you think you're going to go somewhere and you end up dropping, but I think this is pretty cool. This is actually my favorite probably draft moment.
This is the trips in the car. This is the continuation. But when we start playing football, everything takes care of itself. Okay? I'm proud of you. All those people in the house are proud of you. Okay? Just understand it ain't when, it's where.
It's not when, it's where. And he's 100%. He's 100% right. And it doesn't matter if you're the first pick or the last pick. What you want to go is to a great situation where you have a chance to compete in a great organization. And I think that's where, as far as Group of 5 guys go, we got a lot of guys that are in some really, really good situations where they got drafted.
Yeah, when I feel like these guys like Will Levis, for instance. I know we talk bad about the guy, but that guy went into the draft probably thinking he was going to be a top 5 pick, but that's simply because of ESPN and Mel Kiper and these guys. Like I guarantee I would like to think no GM was like, we're going to take you at 3 overall, and then just left them sitting there. So I think it's a lot of this hype machine that's created by the media, and that's why the first round takes 4 hours for these guys to make 32 picks. And you got these guys that sit like Levis, like, buddy, the Titans. I mean, the fact that Ryan Tannehill's been able to be successful at that place for the last couple of years, like, that's a good spot. It's a good spot with a great running game and a great offensive line where you go, you go number 1 overall or whatever. Typically, you're going to be in a crap spot, no weapons, no O-line, and then the way the NFL is right now, you're going to give these guys a year or two, and then you're ready to cut them.
Yeah,
and they never have a chance.
Yeah, and our boy Stu's right. He's in the chat, and he says he really liked Nick Hampton, obviously the linebacker from App State, going in the 5th round.
Of course you did, Stu.
Of course you did. But that's another one though. Going to the LA Rams, I mean, you have a lot of talent on that defense. If he can find a spot on special teams to start, and then somehow works his way, injury or something away from getting on the field. I mean, shoot, you're behind Aaron Donald and those boys. That makes linebackers' lives a whole lot easier when you got a front like that in front of you.
Yeah.
Sprouse, I was drinking pina coladas like literally the past
you were
like 64 hours. Did your boy from Buffalo, y'all's boy, get picked up anywhere? The wide receiver?
He got picked up. He did not get drafted. Now I'm drawing a blank. I feel like it was Atlanta, right? Hold on. Let me look it up. He did get picked up.
I just didn't know if he got drafted or not.
He did not get drafted. Atlanta Falcons. We may have to go see him.
Yeah, well, sure.
But Porter, what's up, Murph?
Nothing. I'm just cracked. The Stu, he goes, and he's a monster. According to Swag, he's tall enough to play linebacker. So
you gotta be at least 5'11" to be a decent linebacker.
He should be successful since he's
got
tall
a chance
enough.
Then. Yeah. Marshall in Atlanta.
She'll get some time, some opportunity to play. I mean, they don't wide receivers pretty thin down there in Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, they got Pitts, who was a huge bust on my fantasy team this past year, but they don't have a lot of weapons in Atlanta.
Free agency I saw a pretty good bit of free agency, and I saw Cameron Peoples. He's going to get a shot with the Carolina Panthers just down the road from Boone, North Carolina, and I'm sure the App State is excited about that. I mean, I'm sure they would prefer to see him get drafted late, but I know his Senior Bowl game. I do know he didn't have the best showing, right, Sprouse?
Well, he had those couple drops on the screens, but then he did have a good run or two. But yes, he did play, and he had a couple drops in a row, which sticks out. Grant Dubose going to Green Bay. Green Bay 2 years in a row drafting a couple of our favorite receivers.
Does that not sound like a Green Bay wide receiver?
It does.
Yeah. I think he's going to be a star.
Well, the only problem is
they don't have a quarterback.
I don't know about Jordan Love. We'll see.
Good. They don't need Aaron Rodgers there. The guy's a bum.
Yeah,
Nicholas Cage, Air Force One looking ass. They need Love in there at Green Bay throwing some touchdowns to him. Give Love a chance. Love is better than hate.
Give him a chance. I think he's going to have an opportunity to. I mean, you got to sit behind one of the best to ever do it, whether he was helpful or not. You're going to pick up a lot doing that. But yeah, I think DeBose, if he can get on there and make the team, he's got a chance to make something happen. Some other some picks that we were pretty spot on, guys. I mean, Dorian Williams, the 91st pick going to Buffalo.
It's a good spot.
Yeah, it's a great spot for him, and they need help. They need help stopping that run game. We talked about Jake Andrews, our boy Jake Haener. We said New Orleans tip. You said it might be a good landing spot for him, and it sure was.
I love that pick.
Absolutely love it.
How about him going and going to be Derek Carr's?
That's pretty cool.
The backup anyway,
guys. Yeah. And he's going to, like I said, I mean, who knows how Carr's going to be. I mean, he couldn't take the Raiders to the promised land, so I don't know, how many years they're going to give him down in New Orleans, but Haener can kind of sit behind, get some reps underneath his belt. You never know. He could be the guy in New Orleans in a couple of years. Clayton Tune ends up going to Houston with the 139th pick. South Alabama corner going to San Francisco. Darrell Ludo Jr. I think that's a good spot for him on that defense. I mean, they got a ton of talent. So if he can find a way on the field, either as a nickel guy or anything special teams, work his way in there, he's got a shot to do some big things.
Dwayne McBride going from UAB going to the Vikings. There's rumors going around that Dalvin Cook's going to get traded.
Really?
I've heard Dolphins and I've heard
That's
Bills.
what you heard, Tip.
Yep. Heard a couple of teams.
They're going to be good,
so you're going to have
boys.
Alexander Madison, and who's going to be your running back 2 in that offense? It's going to be Dwayne McBride from UAB, and we saw how successful and how great he did down in UAB.
You know, I was kind of excited about the Texans drafting Tune because, you know, the Houston combo, and they got Tank Dell, but they also drafted C.J. Stroud. So interesting that they drafted 2 quarterbacks. And, you know, could be a situation of, you know, who was it? Seattle, when they signed Matt Flynn to that huge contract, and then Russell Wilson they drafted late, and he beat him out. I would love to see that. Nothing against C.J. Stroud. I think he's pretty damn good, but
there might be an actual reason for that. I think, Case Keenum's their quarterback. They might need another backup besides Case. So,
is Case Keenum their quarterback? Davis Mills was their starter,
Davis
right?
Mills.
Yeah. Davis Mills is that guy.
Another
He's where's he at now?
No, you're right though. He is
might be on the roster.
Yeah.
I was just thinking. I was like, well, they may not have a legit backup. So
they don't have a legit starter. I mean, Stroud better hope.
I don't know. Stroud really impressed me in
he's
that
good.
playoff game. So.
Jeff, what kind of voicemails do we have for this show here tonight? I think you said you got one from our boy Terry.
Yeah, our boy Terry. And real quick before I get to him, and not to hang on the draft too long, but I think the Cowboys had a sneaky good draft. I really do. We talked about Deuce Vaughn, but our boy Junior Fiocco out of San Jose State, defensive end, went in the 4th round. And then Eric Scott Jr. out of Southern Miss, corner, going to the Cowboys as well in the 6th. So, I don't know. We got plenty of group of 5 guys around doing some damage. But, yeah, Terry Johnson called in today, had a 2-party voicemail, and kind of just recapping the draft, had his opinion on it. So, we'll get right to it.
What's up, group of 5 guys? Terry Johnson calling. Been a while. I want to call and talk about the draft and just things that I noticed, you know. Happy to see, you know, somebody had 9 players selected. American had only 10, which is very surprising because, you know, the American talks about being the Power 6. I think the Sun Belt's going to be the Power 6 in a little bit. But, you know, this is funny, man. Like, we had a guy a couple years ago that was part of Billy Napier's recruiting class, and he was Osiris Torrance, who was an amazing offensive lineman, who is amazing. He got drafted to the Bills late in the 2nd, and he was the best offensive lineman that I've ever seen. He allowed no sacks, I think, his entire career. I'm not mistaken. And the guy's super talented. Played 1 year with Florida, and, you know, they act like he was the bee's knees, which he is. I'm not discrediting the guy, but he is. But, you know, he could have been, you know, that same, I think, drafted in the same round, or if not higher, had he said we do well. You know, we had a guy, Robert Hunt, who, Sprouse, I know you're a Dolphins fan, you know, plays for the Dolphins. You got drafted like number 3 pick in the 2nd round, so even higher. I think Osiris is more talented than Robert Hunt. So, and it's just crazy how people forget how these players who play for G5 schools, where all the other G5 schools put out talent and they go to P5s and they think that they can't make it to the league, or the NIL money starts to talk in, and, you know, tampering, and I just feel like, you know, like I said it before, we're just going to be, the G5s is going to become a feeder league, basically a junior college for the P5s. And, you know, until somebody tracks down these tampering, like coaches have to eventually stitch on their friends and tell the NCAA that tampering is going on, or they have to stop this one-time transfer rule. Because, I mean, eventually, you know, great players, like you'll see, you know, like Frank Gore Jr., like, you know, guys like him, or guys like Grayson McCall. I mean, if it wasn't for his grades, Grayson McCall would be, you know, probably at a P5 right now. You know, so I think, you know, something's got to happen with all this tampering and one-time transfer stuff, or else the G5 will die. We had one guy on our DBs that quit or transferring, Trey Amos, after the spring game. And that just puts coaches in a bad light, because after the spring game, ask Dion, after spring game, you know, you got all these guys transferring. You think your team's going to look a certain way, then after spring game, it doesn't. So, you know, it's just bad, man. But y'all be blessed. God bless Group of 5. God bless Group of 5 guys. Go Cajuns. Oh, yeah, Group of 5 guys, one last thing. Not on the subject of football, but I know a few months ago, Sprouse, or I think somebody from y'all was tweeting about the Israel Adesanya UFC 287 fight, about who to pick. I'm a huge MMA fan. I've been doing martial arts for about 7 years. I think it's a great thing to get into pro football because it keeps you competitive. Great way to stay in shape. You fall in love with it. But I've been doing it, jiu-jitsu and, you know, kickboxing for about 7 years. So anytime you guys need help on picking fights for gambling, prize picks, anything, I'm your guy to go to. Now, my only charge is if you win, it's 3%. I don't gamble myself, you know what I'm saying? But if you win, I get 3% of whatever you make. So feel free to ask me what you want. I'm all good, man. Like, I won't really charge you. But I just love talking about fighting and the picks. So it's a great thing to get your kids in. You know, my daughter's going to start it, you know, eventually in the next coming years. But yeah, like, hit me up any of that. God bless y'all.
Appreciate it, Terry.
Spot on the NFL draft part.
Yeah.
Because Torrance, you know, that's the question. Would he have gotten drafted as higher if he stays at Louisiana? I mean, for those that don't know, he was at Louisiana for a couple years and transfers to Florida with Napier and then gets drafted in the second round. But, I mean, I think he was already getting draft talk when he was there. So I think he still goes around the same spot. But that is scary, man, because these guys, they're going to think all I got to do is go play in the SEC or ACC or whatever for 1 year. It may boost my draft stock, but I'll also make, you know, however much money with NIL.
Yeah.
So you don't want to see that.
Well, and I'll just give you one, you know, close to home for us. I mean, and I wish him nothing but the best, but Jalen Lane, receiver for our Blue Raiders last year, goes to Virginia Tech. So he'll be playing at Virginia Tech for his last season. And nothing against Virginia Tech, but I think their top receiver last year, like, he didn't even have the same amount of catches or yards as like Middle's like third or fourth guy. And that's just solely that they don't pass the ball. Yeah. So I don't know why, like, you know, I get it. They threw a lot of money at him, or somebody threw a lot of money at him, but it's like you have a chance to be the guy again, get all the film you want, all the stats you want, and then continue that, you know, because the ultimate goal is to go to the NFL, but instead you take an NIL deal, go to Virginia Tech. I mean, they weren't very good last year, and I don't see them being very good this year. I mean,
you know,
I just don't understand.
If you're going, I mean, the NIL money, you know, it's hard to like combat that because it wasn't really a thing when we were playing, and probably none of us would have gotten a whole lot of money thrown at our way, but maybe. But like if you're wanting to go compete, you know, I would even understand like going to, if you're Virginia Tech, no offense, you're not winning a championship.
No.
Unless you're going to Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, you know, the third SEC school, whatever it is, any given year, LSU, Tennessee, that's probably it right now. I mean, you're just going to go be 500. You're just going to go be on an average team. I don't know. Maybe some of these group of 5 schools will start getting some, you know, some that might be in like the de facto #1 banking city in America might have some money thrown at their guys. But also,
that's a good segue.
Well, Terry had a couple good segues. Also, great segue. Hey, Prize Picks.
Yeah.
Use our code GOFG. I think I got Bam out of bio over 18 points tonight. No Jimmy Butler. We'll see what happens. Use our code GOFG. They will match your first time deposit up to $100. Download the app Prize Picks. But yeah, speaking of transfers, Charlotte got another quarterback. So 2 things. Let me back up a little bit. I am going to give me, Tip, and Swag a lot of credit because about 2 series into Charlotte's spring game, we saw Jones in there at quarterback. I think he was wearing number 4, and we were like, "Oh yeah, he's the guy." I mean, he's for sure had looks the best out there. And then after the spring game, the other guy transferred. But now
Xavier Williams.
But now Charlotte just got another transfer in, Arizona State transfer, Hoover High School guy too, Jess. So, you know,
winner.
But But dude, the whole transfer thing, like you're already like camp has gotten reduced, so there's not as many, padded practices. Now you're getting a completely different roster after spring.
Yeah.
So I bet coaches just got to be losing their minds without being able to do like, install. I mean, you think about just basic O-line install, Jess, right? I mean, we're all summer, like literally starting from the beginning. Inside zone, right, inside zone, left, power, couple screens. And we do it for like 2 weeks.
You would think we were just a bunch of damn dumbasses in there. We're going to talk about 4 or 5. We're going to run 5 plays this whole spring. That's all we're going to do.
We're in 6 plays, split veer.
And what I think of too, when you're talking about like how fall camp and all camps and all transfer rules and how football has changed. Like I just remember when I was like a kid and playing Pee Wee football, you had those like coaches that were college football players back in the 80s. How they wanted to let us know like, God, football just wasn't the same back when I played it. And I'm like, okay, it'll be the same. We're going to be those guys. We're going to be those guys like, y'all are literally in shorts all camp. Like y'all are over here crying and quitting and wanting to, go play, badminton, whatever it's called. The game has changed, guys. The game is changing. And now your installation, you better eat your breakfast because you're going to be learning a lot of plays now. You got to get a lot known in
then you
a short
already,
period of time.
You already are playing, a lot of teams are playing these week 1 games against an FCS school or whatever to kind of get a tune-up. It's like you better play like 2 or 3 weeks first before I mean, you're going to have time to even see who can play with pads on.
Yeah.
I don't like it, Jeff.
I mean, it is what it is, but and Stu, we got a couple people in the chat, so I feel like I need to shout them out. Stu's Wright's in there. Our boy Zeke Anderson is in the chat, just checking in.
Zeke sent me a text a minute ago.
What did he say?
He sent one to me too, and I cannot stop laughing about it. He found a new friend. He found a tiny little friend. And I think he's going to bring the guy back on the airplane with him, and he's going to be like, "What I found?" He bought something.
But our boy Caskey's in there. Tyder Raider, who's a good friend of mine, who's actually a big Raider fan, so he's checking in. But yeah, a lot of transfers, and Stu's mad because we talked about Charlotte again. But hey, I don't see any App State
number 1 student section in the group of 5
going in there, Stu. So I don't know what to say, but they got a couple transfers. They got a linebacker out of Michigan. They got a corner out of North Carolina coming into Charlotte. This is just within like the last week. I mean, say what you want. I mean, somebody's throwing some NIL money around is what I think, getting these kids in there. But another notable transfer, Zach Courtney, a tight end out of Colorado, is going to Coastal Carolina. They are loading up at the tight end position. Tip, we talked about it a little bit earlier. I tell you what, boys, I think their offense is going to be damn good this year. I really do.
Yeah, but Colorado was straight donkey ass. I don't know if this guy's going to be really that great.
Well, the fact that they brought in 3 tight end transfers is what, like, it's what Murph was talking about the last podcast is get as many, if you're able to, get as many transfers at one position as you're able to. Let them compete.
Yeah.
One of them's probably going to stick out and have a good season. If you bring in one, you're reducing your odds and your chances of that one person, that one tight end succeeding. When you bring 3 in, one from Colorado, one from Notre Dame, one from North Carolina. Well, one of them, one or more, hopefully all 3, but your chances of one of those guys being successful in this offense is greater.
Well, here's the other thing too, Tip, is you have the best quarterback in the conference again, and inside reports from Conway Sprouse, and I think you got some too. This is the healthiest Grayson McCall has looked in an offseason, and he's getting a full offseason with his guys. And I don't know if this Zach Courtney kid's going to be any good, but what I can tell you is he's 6'6". So you have a massive.
He's tall enough.
Yeah, I mean he's definitely tall enough for that position. So
I don't know why you are making a big deal about a 5 guy. I don't understand why everybody's getting all my tizzy for that. Yeah, 6'6", that's great. I'm just saying that he was on a Colorado team that won 0 games last year, and Deion Sanders says he's bringing Louis to leave, so he goes to Coastal. Yeah, he's going to be a great quarterback. So I mean, yeah, 6'6", going to look.
My point is he's in an offense that has a lot of continuity from last year, a lot of returning faces. You add some new pieces to it. You got McCall, who's healthy. we'll see what happens. The Sun Belt is probably the toughest Group of 5 conference in the country, outside of the Mountain West. But I don't know. That's just a lot of pieces. A lot of
throw that in there, didn't he?
I know
He
that.
did, yeah. He did.
Let's go.
He tried to stir something up right there.
But I just think when you have those major pieces that are that good and returning and that important, that's just gonna help you. You know, you got App State, Bryce is gone, Peoples is gone. You got a lot of places, people moving there. Troy's gonna be a top team again, but honestly, their quarterback position was a carousel last year, and you lost your leading tackler on defense in Carlton Marshall. That's a huge
He was
piece
5'9".
you have to replace. So it's just going to be interesting, is all I'm saying. I think people are counting Coastal out. I'm on the Coastal train, and our boy Steeple PC.
I'm not counting them out.
Not just one, but 2 of those Yingling flights are on him when we get to Conway.
Jeff, I don't think you mentioned James Madison in that little.
Oh my gosh!
So just be careful because
I'm gonna get roasted.
I mean,
I'm gonna get roasted on Twitter.
You are. But you would talk about a sensitive fan base. Just kidding. Yeah. Also, Tip, you got the Texas State hat on right now. They got a former. Not that I'm into recruiting stars, but they got a former 5-star offensive tackle from Oklahoma just transferred. I mean, I saw a picture of the guy. He ain't 5'9". He is a big.
I also saw a 4 or 5-star transfer to MTSU back when I played, and he was complete donkey ass. So I'm not going to. I don't care. Preston Bailey. I don't care if you see this or not. He wasn't that great.
So let me ask you this: are there any transfers that are decent?
Don't put me on the spot right now.
No, I'm just asking because every time we say a guy transfers,
they are.
You're just like, well, we don't know because Colorado.
Because I'm just
one
playing
game
into the
last
character. Yeah, that guy's a
my point is
star. That guy's huge. That came from Oklahoma to Texas State. Yeah,
I don't think they can all be duds. And left tackle is my point. I don't think they all can be
all going to
duds.
be duds. But I just don't. I can't stand Colorado. So when I hear, when I think of transfers from Colorado, I automatically think of the guy. One, he couldn't cut it. He was scared of Deion Sanders. He's not Deion Sanders qualified, and he's a scapegoat, and he's probably a little baby back. I don't know. He was on a 0-win team last year. So
I agree with that.
He's gonna have to do like I have to see 5 or 6 games to see what this guy can do. That's only one.
No,
I think the Arizona State guy going to Charlotte. Great transfer. Hoover, Alabama probably has a really good work ethic, good head on his shoulders. Grew up from a good family.
Got paid by Russ Probst or whatever that guy's name.
No, but I agree with that about the Colorado guys because Deion. That being said, though, Deion's getting it's getting a little out of hand. I feel like I've been seeing some more stuff come up, and seems like he's treating them like crap too. And then he had this comment about he was so embarrassed that only one player from Jackson State got drafted. It's like, hey, Deion, who is going to get drafted? Who else? You got to the good ones are transferring. So now what's he going to say next year? Why didn't anybody from Jackson State get drafted? No, dude, because your talented ones transferred to Colorado. I mean, he's complaining about a problem, but he's also a gigantic part of the problem. I was rooting for Deion for about a week and a half there, and now I'm back on the hatred towards him train. And Colorado, I tweeted about it. They're the worst team in the state of Colorado. And let's not sit here and say the state of Colorado is some football powerhouse either. And Colorado's the worst team in it.
Can I make a statement about a team in Colorado who I think is going to be a lot better?
Air Force Falcons. Go ahead, Jeff.
No. I think Colorado State's going to be a lot better this year.
No, they will.
I think it's Norvell and Mummy's second year in that offense. You get a second year with Clay Millen, who honestly, he had a tough year last year, but they could not protect up front. But I just think a second year in that system, he's going to be going through his reads a lot quicker. They lost some receivers on the outside, but I think they did a good job recruiting. And I just have faith. Everywhere those two have gone, Mummy and Norvell, they've been successful. So I don't know why it's going to be any different. Especially with those facilities, man. You get a recruit to go in there, they're going to sign right away.
Yeah. Well, that's another point. Deion is probably the worst coach in the state of Colorado, too. I mean, he's for sure the most unproven. I mean, for sure. So, they don't play either Air Force or Colorado State this year. They got to play Colorado State, I think, right? They always play. But They did last year, and they got smoked by both of them. So you might need 64 transfers, but if they're all coming from Jackson State and places like that, they're still not going to be a whole lot better.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and we get and Stu's dropping some. This is what we need. We got Stu's dropping some transfers. Christian Ford, a receiver from Mississippi State, going to App State. Devin Price, another receiver from Texas A&M, and Michael Fletcher, a DN from Michigan State. Yeah, all going to App State. So
he got that ass kicked last year. You had to move over.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm just again, it's such a new, what we're in year 2 or 3 of the transfer portal. I think it's gonna really see how this stuff shakes out. It's gonna be interesting.
It's gonna be terrible.
Yeah, real quick before we call it, do you think they make any changes to it? Like, do you think there's going to be some regulations that come with NIL, transfer portal?
I believe they have. I don't know if they've officially.
Well, it ain't working.
Well, no. Well, I don't know when it goes into effect, but I read that what they're going to do is you have one, and I don't know when it starts. I don't know what, I haven't got into all the weeds of it yet, but you have one free transfer to transfer wherever you want. After that transfer, it reverts back to the old rules.
Sit out a year.
Where if you transfer again, you have to sit out, or you can transfer down and play right away. So, which I think is the right move. I'm good with one time like free, but after that, I feel like there's got to be some stipulations. There's got to be some protections.
You know, it'd be a good stipulation. Interrupted, North 5. And I think that this should get shared so that the NCAA can hear this. I think you'll all agree here. I'm fairly intelligent. There should be a cap on how many transfers each school can get per year, scholarship-wise transfers. If you hit like 6 transfers for that year, then you're done. You can't get another Division I guy. And that way, it also helps out your junior college guys, helps out your high school guys, and you're not getting so many guys that are just struggling to find a scholarship. Does that make sense?
Well, you still have.
So you also don't have guys bouncing all over the place.
But you still have the same amount of scholarships. Like that number hasn't increased, so they're only
your transfers. Well, I get you got the same amount of scholarships.
Yeah, so like if people leave, if scholarship guys transfer out, now you have more available when you bring guys in to offer them scholarships. So that part hasn't really changed.
Yeah, but
I don't think you understand what I'm saying though.
I'm right here with you, Grish. I think that's
you can't
the
get
smartest
another
thing you've ever said.
transferred. If I am Middle Tennessee, and I've already had 3 transfers this spring. I only got 3 more I can get this summer from another Division I school. That's all I can get. The rest of them have to be from junior colleges or high school.
I'm with you. I'm with you now, and I especially like it because of the high school kids. Because right now, yeah, you still have the same amount of scholarships, but right now you got high school kids that in the day, used to sign in February or whatever it is, but now the colleges are having to delay this stuff because they know after spring, here comes 64 players in the portal that potentially have experience, potentially have, Power 5 or playing experience at the college level. So the high school kids that normally would sign in February and be on campus in the summer are probably not even getting an official offer until after they make sure the transfer portal's been figured out. So your JUCOs, like I'm Jesse. Hey,
thank God
you are. I mean, this is the best thing you've ever contributed.
Yeah, no doubt. Thank God I graduated in 09. Like I couldn't imagine the stress of being in high school. Who's going to transfer? Is Middle Tennessee? Are they going to are they bringing in more guys from Georgia this year? Are they bringing in more guys from App State?
Dude, and
that's scary. That's scary to think about.
And let me put another wrinkle in it. And let's say you're a high school quarterback or high school, whatever position you play, and you sign somewhere, and then spring ball happens, and then, all of a sudden let's just use an example. Let's say a high school kid signs to play at Charlotte next year. He's a quarterback, and he's like, okay, we're not so sure at quarterback. There's a battle, and he signs. Then they have spring ball. He's still signed, and then, here comes an Arizona State transfer to play quarterback at Charlotte. Now that affects the decision that I made several months ago, and I could have went somewhere else where I wanted to play. So now let's fast forward a year. This high school kid's going to transfer, and we're going to be sitting here on our podcast talking shit about him because he's transferring. But he transferred, but he signed into a situation that he wasn't prepared for.
It's a mess.
I'm with you. I'm getting fired up now. I'm sweating.
Word.
I'm in here.
Hey, it's atrocious.
It is atrocious. That's an atrocious word, Jeff.
It's atrocious. It's atrocious.
Well, that's all we got for you. I got Montezuma's revenge, so I may have to hit the toilet here in just a second. Finish up watching the end of the Heat game. Grisham's got to watch Love is Blind. Is that what's
Real Housewives of New Jersey, actually? And guess what? Love is not real. Kevin Costner is getting divorced. Whew, after 18 years of marriage.
Do you read like People magazine and stuff? Like
he's on Fox News.
Keep up with the tabloids.
This Fox News breaking.
He probably reads Cosmopolitan. He probably gets it at the local Kroger's.
Gets it at the Publix in the aisle.
Yeah.
You should read some Cosmopolitan. You may learn something.
Trust me, brother. I don't need to learn anything more.
Anyway, here we go.
Yeah. Hey, you guys, thank you for watching it. If you do like the show, go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, and give us a like and a subscribe, 5-star rating and review. Tell your family and friends about us. Make sure you call the hotline 615-900-4286. Leave the voicemails like we got from Terry with your hottest takes. Start talking trash. We're coming up on the season, guys. Also follow us on all the social media platforms at Group of Five Guys. That's all we got for you guys tonight. We're out of here.